Now we're talking valuable. That is old. Wow. This is very, very popular and pretty rare. It's Dr. Lori, and I'm with Caring Transition Firehouse Estate Sales in Lake Harmony, Pennsylvania, the Poconos. Come on and thrift with me. How about some Gaudy Dutch? Now we're talking valuable. Actually, there's a lot of Gaudy Dutch here. Gaudy Dutch here, or Gaudy Dutch, is how some people will pronounce it. It is really nice, and some pieces better than others. So look at the decorated handle, and because it's so highly decorative, they call it Gaudy or Gaudy Dutch, and it's based on Dutch pieces. Now see this piece, one piece at a time. So you've got to really look. Little damage here. But look how it's decorated on the inside. You want to see that. You also want to see this edge that's different all the way through. It's not just a round edge and a spout. Interior decoration is what you want to look for with this. Luster wear, so this luster color of the cobalt, for example, right, almost looks metallic. 75, yeah, okay, I could see 75 for this because of that. See that damage? See that crack? See that chip? That's why it's 75, because it really would be worth a whole lot more. And this, of course, is from the 19th century. It's a nice piece from the 1800s. Let's see if we can find one that's not damaged. How about one of these? Again, you've got a serpentine edge around the spout, and you have, of course, the decorative inlay. See the crack? The crack goes all the way through to the foundation of the piece. It's beautifully decorated. It's got paw elements here that connect the handle to the body. It's really very brightly and hand done, very typical of Gaudy Dutch. So some of these pieces of Gaudy Dutch actually have a mark and some don't. Some just have a number which relates to the painter who's painting the design, and some have things like this. Ironstone china is embossed in it because the body is actually ironstone, which is a durable china of the 19th century. Many people had it. A lot of times it's not decorated. This is called Gaudy Dutch because while it's quite old, it also is highly decorated. So they use that surname for it, that secondary name of Gaudy Dutch for it. So what do they want for this one? 75. So, they're figuring, hey, we know they're damaged, but if they weren't damaged, you'd be upwards of 150 to 200 for one. What about some porcelain bamboo style candlesticks? These are Italian. Now you're saying, those are Italian, Dr. Lori? Yeah, they don't look Italian. They look Asian, but they're not. Basically, it's the Italian manufacturers of the great, I bet you these came from the same place that came from, because these are Este, made in Italy for Tiffany. I don't know if you can see that mark, but that's what you got. So these are Italian. Why? How do I know? The bright white clay, the very sharp lines of the actual mold of the porcelain, the height of them. You have to have some quality control and know what you're doing if you're going to make candlesticks this tall in porcelain. Usually they're very short. Also, of course, the bamboo. You can see it trying to look like bamboo here. That's very typical because a lot of people decorate in an Asian motif or an Asian style. Even the colonial Americans did that, right? They had all of their Chippendale tables and Chippendale chairs, and then they put Asian, called chinoiserie, decorations around it. So I'm going to put one down and see what the tag is. I do like the fact that here we have like woodland animals and some really high quality china, and then we've got a piece of Waterford. Wow, 60. Italian, the pair is 60. That's 30 each. Wow, these are $250 pieces. Now that has an Italian feel to it too. Yeah, Alesse Nova, Italian, hand painted. What's Italian about it, you're saying? Well, first of all, the bulbous nature. Doesn't it just look like a big plant, big bulb, and then it's got this sort of blooming part at the top? The weightiness of it. Lemons or anything that has to, lemons and grapes, very typical in the motifs of the Italians. Time period, this is the 70s. How much is this? 40, definitely a deal at 40. I'd say 75 on this one. Nice decoration, redware. You can always feel the clay, and then of course glazed and painted, but again, damaged. So this I probably would say, if it's not really cheap, well, it is really cheap, it's $10. So $10, okay. So while this is a perfectly nice piece for many reasons, it's trying to look like a Lladró, and it's a fake. How would you know? Now, here's why it's a perfectly nice piece. It's multiple figures on one base. It's nice porcelain. It's relatively nice porcelain. It's hand painted. It's made in Asia, trying to look like Lladró. I want you to look at the faces. This is usually how you can tell an Asian-made ceramic piece, if it's a figure, or figurines in this case. A very long curved nose, and then you'll notice a very big eyelid. Very typical of an Asian face trying to look Western in the Madonna and Child with the Angels. It's certainly perfectly nice for $25. Yes, it's a bargain, but don't be confused and think that this is a $500 Lladró. A nice English teacup and saucer. If people say, oh, no one collects those. A lot of people collect these. It's got a handle that shows you how it is English. Notice that nice little points on it. Sometimes they're more exaggerated than others, but the little points is an English handle. Bone china, Staffordshire, England. What are they going to want for this? They should want 20 for the cup with the saucer. What does the label say? 5. Wow. So 4 times. So 20. This looks like a Christopher Radko for $10. It's probably worth $10. How much for this? 10. That's a cheapie too. So I'd say 35 on this definitely. How about that? Straight back. That is old, O-L-D, old. So you can see that it's glass. You can see that it's molded glass. Look at the seams and the decoration. White glass. This is not milk glass. This is white glass. This is milk glass. See the difference in color, right, between white glass and milk glass? 1900, 1920. It had all hand-painted flowers here, and there are many of them. And they would be sit on a vanity, and they would be used for toilet water, or eau de toilette, as we call it today. There's your American maker's mark. It's a little bit hard, it's embossed in there, but it's in the glass. It's molded right with the glass. $20 for this piece. Today's market, you're probably looking at $85. How about some Carnival glass? That piece, of course, the marigold piece. Marigold is the color. It's got that nice golden color. It's got these panels as you go all the way around it, and some purple linearity. It's got a nice flared base. And let's see if we have a mark. Usually the mark will be right here in the center. If you can't see it this way, then you have to go down and see it this way. Remember, I'm going to leave everything here for you. I don't see a mark. So that particular piece does look like a piece that would come out of Pittsburgh's or West Virginia area. It is $10, and I would say value on that is going to be $35. This is very, very popular and pretty rare. It's the hand-painted piece, and when you see the mark, you're going to say, oh my gosh, here's your mark. Look at the Robinson Ransbottom from Ohio pitcher. Heavy-duty pottery. It's glazed, it's painted, and it's a pretty rare detail. You don't usually see the snowman. He doesn't show up a lot, especially in a condition like this, and especially in stores like this. Most people hang on to these. Look at that, Martin. Look at that number. Look at that number. $25. Ay, ay, ay. That's a beautiful piece at $70. A little bit of impressed milk glass, and that one's 10 too. So that one's priced to move. Typically you see those pieces, and they regularly sell in the $35 to $38 range. I've told you before, anytime you're shopping, you gotta look down, you gotta look around, you gotta look up. So let's look up at some chairs. How about starting with an Asian style chair? You want to look for 2 parts of any chair. You want to look at the back and you want to look at the legs. The legs on this chair are curved under at the feet. Very typical of Asian chairs. Chairs mainly from parts of China, parts of Japan, and even South Asia. Notice again the way they curve under, almost under the seat. The seat is usually flat. The seat is usually thick on an Asian chair like this. And the telltale sign of this Asian chair is, of course, the backsplat that has a carved out plum blossom design. That design you're going to see in silk paintings, in artwork, in woodblock prints, but also in furniture from Asia. That's a beautiful example. Next to it is something really different because it's American. It's an American oak chair. My friend David Highfield, we're always talking about oak, and it is from the early 1900s. This one has similar designs, in fact, on the feet, but the designs, of course, are designs that are quite different from the feet of the Asian chair. These are paw feet. They're carved paws like an animal. So oftentimes you're going to see those It had a caned seat at one time. Right now the caning is gone. That's very common, but the foundation of that chair is really quite good. You can see also the back has a nice vase form. Sometimes we call it in art history vasiform for the back. And that, oh, there's the fly that's been bugging us. the back of that particular chair, I think he wants to be in the video. So the back of that chair, oak, American, really traditional piece. What all of us love, mid-century modern. That next chair, of course, has a curved back, and it has a nice upholstered seat and back, and it's got straight Danish design from, of course, Scandinavia, with those nice straight legs, usually a light wood like a birch or a beech wood. Sometimes you'll see it in a wheat color stain or a champagne color stain. These are really beautiful chairs. That's a gorgeous chair. If there's a set of those, you want to snap those up because they're very popular right now. And then, of course, I'll end with this rocker because it's really a beautiful rocker. That rocker is early 20th century. You can tell not only from the back and the nice curved Art Nouveau design of the back, but also you can see a reupholstered green corduroy on the back of it. But what you're seeing that's most indicative of its time period is underneath the seat, you can see the gears. You can actually see the spring supports that tell you that the piece is early 1900s, between about 1915 and 1930. It's rosewood, not quite mahogany, not as dark as mahogany, but a rosewood color is very popular in those first decades of the 20th century. Chairs are a lot of fun, and remember, you want to look up when you're looking around. And then there's this chair. I couldn't leave without talking to you about the Biedermeier chair. This particular piece, gorgeous. And why is it gorgeous? It's not about the stain, it's about the grain. Look at this. Look at this work right in here. Look at the back of this. Outlined with marquetry work, all this beautiful inlay, contrasting inlay work in this nice rectangle that says to you, I'm the back of the chair. And you'll notice the design, very streamlined, very modern, straightforward, very thin. The wood itself on the crest rail is very thin. You don't have a big heavy-handed crest rail. The condition is amazing. I mean, I can't believe that it looks like this. Of course, Biedermeier chairs. They're made in with the highest quality that we're going to see, and notice the highlight. Right here is where all the value is in this chair. So if you see one like it, don't pass it by. How about all those treasures? I left them for you. There's more to come.